When you first read Matthew chapter 14, it can feel a little random, a bunch of stories kind of strung together. But when you look closer, you realize it's actually this brilliantly crafted narrative. It's a story of two kings, pitting two totally different kinds of power against each other. And this quote right here, it's basically the key to the whole chapter. It sets up this core conflict perfectly, a power that takes versus a power that gives. And trust me, once you get that one contrast, the whole narrative just clicks into place. So, let's start with our first king, Herod Antipas. He's the perfect example of that earthly power we just talked about, a world of politics, pride, and, as we're about to see, some pretty deadly consequences. Okay, so here's how it all goes down, and it is grim. John the Baptist calls Herod out for his illegal marriage. Herod, who's kind of caught between his own ego and being scared of the people, just throws John in jail. Then, at his own birthday party, a party all about him, he makes this incredibly foolish promise to his stepdaughter after she dances for him. Her mother sees an opportunity, tells her what to ask for, and boom, she demands John the Baptist's head on a platter. And Herod, more worried about looking weak in front of his guests than doing the right thing, just agrees. A man's life is taken to save face at a party. And just like that, bam, the story makes a hard pivot. Jesus hears this devastating news about John's execution, and the spotlight immediately shifts to the second king in our story. And his response could not be more different from Herod's. This is really the central question the story is asking us to think about. Jesus just found out his cousin, his friend, has been brutally murdered by the government. He's a wanted man now. So what's he gonna do? Fight? Run and hide? Okay, this is where it gets really interesting if you're a word nerd. The specific Greek word Matthew uses is anachoreo. This isn't just running away. It means a strategic withdrawal, like a military retreat. It was a smart, practical move. Herod was getting more violent, and Jesus knew he was in real danger. It's a very human response. But his plan for a strategic retreat gets completely derailed. He sees the huge crowd that's followed him, and the text says he's moved with espleknista. Now, this word is not about some gentle feeling of pity. No, this is a gut punch of compassion. The ancients believed deep emotions were felt in your bowels, so this is a visceral, overwhelming empathy that just completely changes everything. And that gut-wrenching compassion, it leads us directly to the second party in this chapter. And this isn't just a cool miracle, it's a direct answer to Herod's deadly birthday bash. This is a party thrown by a different kind of king, with a completely different kind of power. Just look at the contrast side by side. It's stunning. Herod's party was all about his own ego, it served the powerful people in the room, and it ended in a brutal death. Jesus' party, it starts from that deep, visceral compassion, it serves the hungry and the vulnerable, and it ends not with death, but with this overwhelming abundance. We're talking 12 baskets of leftovers. Okay, here's a little detail that is so easy to miss, but it's huge. Matthew makes a point of saying Jesus had the crowd sit on the green grass. For his original Jewish audience, that phrase would have been like a giant flashing sign pointing right to Psalm 23. He makes me lie down in green pastures. This isn't just a meal. It's a picture of the good shepherd taking care of his flock. And let's just take a second to appreciate the sheer scale of this. The Bible says 5,000 men were fed, but then it adds not counting women and children. So most scholars estimate the total crowd was somewhere around 15,000, maybe even 20,000 people. This is a massive, massive event. But believe it or not, the chapter isn't done yet. After this incredible miracle, Jesus sends his disciples off in a boat and goes up on a mountain to pray. The story's climax is still coming, and it happens in the middle of a storm, in the darkest part of the night. So when the disciples see Jesus walking on the water, they are understandably terrified. But for the original audience, this was way more than just a supernatural stunt. In the book of Job, it says that treading on the waves of the sea is something that only God can do. So this isn't just Jesus showing off his power, it's a claim to his divine identity. And this leads to this amazing, very human moment in the middle of this divine revelation. Peter, full of faith, says, "Lord, let me come out to you on the water." And he does. He actually walks on water. But then he starts to sink. So why? Once again, the original Greek gives us this incredible insight. The word used for Peter's doubt is distazo. And it doesn't just mean he suddenly lost all his faith. It literally means to stand in two ways. He became double-minded. I absolutely love how the source commentary puts it. You can't walk on water while doing risk assessment. See, Peter's problem wasn't a total lack of faith. It was a divided focus. He was trying to trust Jesus with one foot while trying to calculate the wind speed and the height of the waves with the other. He was standing in two places at once, and that's the moment he started to go under. So Jesus calms the storm, gets in the boat, and the disciples worship him. But the chapter doesn't just end there. It shows us the result, the ripple effect of this entire chain of events, and the lasting impact of Jesus' compassionate power. When you lay it all out like this, you see this beautiful, logical flow. It all kicks off with intense, personal grief over violent death, but that grief gets transformed into public compassion. That compassion leads to supernatural provision for thousands. That provision sets the stage for a divine revelation on the water, and it all culminates in widespread, tangible healing for anyone who reaches out to him. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, first, this chapter completely redefines what real power looks like. Herod's power takes life, but Jesus' power creates and sustains it. It shows us that personal grief doesn't have to be a dead end. It can actually be transformed into service for others. And, maybe most importantly, this story shows that God doesn't avoid our suffering. Divine love moves through our sorrow, not around it. Faith and fish, miracles and meals, they belong together. And all of that leaves us with this final thought. The whole story really began with a choice. Jesus' initial, very human plan was to withdraw in his grief, but he was moved by compassion to engage instead. And for us, whenever we're faced with our own loss, our own challenges, we face that very same choice. Do we retreat into our pain, or can we find a way to let it be transformed into a compassion that serves the world around us?